Austin Dillon recently faced a lot of attention due to events at the end of the Richmond race. He was a guest on the Happy Hour podcast where he shared his thoughts and experiences. This discussion was particularly interesting because Dillon's team showed great performance that night, despite some controversy surrounding the win. During the 2-week break, Austin Dillon's team had the chance to rest and prepare for the Richmond race. Dillon mentioned that the break allowed his team to relax and recharge. They used this time to carefully dial in the car's performance, which ultimately contributed to their strong showing.
I think going back to North Wilkesboro, we really had a good car there. And we used those tires the right way through practice and was able to set a fast time in qualifying in the open. And we used that throughout the weekend for our adjustments. And, it kind of worked out. I think we found some speed at some of these short tracks along the way. And we had a really good sim session on Tuesday. But the 2 weeks off, I think everybody just kind of relaxed a little bit. And I guess they did a good job just getting the car ready, dialing it in. And
despite the hard work and preparation, the Richmond race wasn't without challenges. The race was intense with many factors to consider, especially with the introduction of a softer tire. Dillon explained that during the race, drivers and teams had to make strategic decisions about when to use these tires. This added complexity to the usual pit strategies and made the race even more challenging. Dillon admitted that it was easy to get lost in all the activities happening on and around the track, especially from the driver's standpoint.
First of all, I think that on the yellows, I thought we were the best car there second half of the race. I didn't feel like there was a better car on the yellows than us, especially in the long run. The reds, I felt like we were more of a fifth place car, just determining off the one run where most people put their reds on in stage 3. I couldn't advance like I could on yellows. And the first adjustment of the race, I kind of went the wrong way. I asked them to free the car up. It wasn't a big adjustment, but it wasn't the right way. We tightened the car up from that point on, and it was just one round. And I used my brake bias for an adjustment for the rest of the race, and the car really kind of came to life later as it cooled off. I don't know what the temperature change was, but the car just kept getting better and better. And
with about 60 to 70 laps to go, Dillon was racing closely with Denny Hamlin, one of the top competitors in the sport. During this intense period, Dillon's team asked him what adjustments the car needed, but Dillon didn't want to be distracted. He was fully focused on the race, trying to maintain his position against a strong competitor. This moment was particularly emotional for Dillon. He hadn't had many opportunities to race at the front like this in a long time. For several laps, Dillon had to remind himself to stay focused, knowing that this was a crucial opportunity.
At the end, they asked me with like 70 to go or 60 to go when we're racing Hamlin before the last stop, what's the car need? And I was like, don't talk to me. Like, we're racing. I don't want to hear nothing. I told some guys last night, for me, we haven't had that opportunity in a long time. Literally racing Denny at one point, I kind of got emotional in the race car, running it down and running with him, because I was like, you go through so much ups and downs in your career. At that point, I was racing with one of the two best guys in our sport, and really getting after it with him. And I had to tell myself for like 5 laps, like, hey man, get your stuff together. You got this opportunity.
As the race neared its end, Dillon had to make a crucial pit stop. During this stop, he almost made a mistake by nearly missing the first gear and clutching in too late while entering the pit box. But once he got through that stop, he felt more in control and ready to finish strong. Even with the pressure and emotions running high, Dillon managed to keep his composure for the final stretch of that race. He knew his car was capable of winning, especially after the last pit stop.
And the second last pit stop, coming down pit road, like, I almost missed putting it in first gear and putting the clutch in, getting in the box. Things were happening. And after we got through that pit stop, from that point on, I had my stuff together, I felt like. But I definitely was, going through some things because I haven't had that many cars or the opportunities to be racing up front like that. There's so much going on with RCR and, the guys that put in so much effort, and you don't want to give it away. You just want to.
As the race reached its final moments, a yellow flag came out, leading to a restart. On the restart, Joey Logano got the better of Dillon, taking the lead. Dillon lost his position as they approached the white flag, signaling the final lap. In this crucial moment, Dillon had to make a quick decision. He found himself in a tight battle with Logano and Hamlin, leading to contact between the cars. Richard Childress mentioned that he had always told his grandson to do whatever it takes to win a race. He justified Dillon's actions by saying that the other drivers would have done the same thing if they were in his position.
It's racing. You know, they would do it to him. I promise you, if he'd have been leading it, that 22 would have moved him out of the way. The 11 would have moved him out of the way. Either one of them would have done the same thing. I've seen it before, and you have too. Seen it right here at Richmond. Clint Boyer won the race the night that I think it was 88 and 18 knocked each other out of the way. He come under him and won the race on the last lap. You just think back.
Dillon explained that his move to spin Logano was intentional, but the crash with Hamlin was more of a reaction.
I went into turn 3. I was up a gear, and when I rolled to him, I think I caught him right in the edge of the right rear. He went up the track. I downshifted to 4th. At that point, I'm looking at the start-finish line with less momentum. Denny's coming up the track. I didn't see, when I'm looking at the start-finish line, I'm going at the closest angle. When he comes up, that was just a reaction getting to the line. But the Joey deal, I mean, definitely trying to get him loose, and then past that, just holding on to the car, downshifting, trying to get the line as fast as you can.
In recent years, NASCAR has shown a higher tolerance for aggressive driving, especially at the Cup Series level. This tolerance has allowed drivers to push the limits on the track without fearing significant repercussions. Dillon was aware of this and knew that he could get away with his actions, especially since he needed a win to improve his standing in the points race and secure a spot in the playoffs. Dillon acknowledged the importance of winning in the current NASCAR format. Wins are crucial for advancing in the playoffs, and drivers are willing to take risks to secure a victory. Dillon pointed out that his actions might not be seen as good sportsmanship, but they were necessary for him to cross the finish line first. He also mentioned that the incident was trending on social media, which he saw as a positive sign for the sport's visibility. NASCAR's embraced the idea of viral highlights as a way to maintain relevance in a crowded sports landscape. The series has struggled to retain casual fans in recent years, and moments like Dillon's controversial win can generate buzz and keep NASCAR in the public eye. However, this approach has its drawbacks. While viral highlights can attract attention, they don't necessarily build a positive image for the sport. Some fans and critics argue that NASCAR has become too focused on sensational moments and has lost sight of what made the sport popular in the first place. Hamlin was particularly upset because this wasn't the first time he had been involved in a similar incident. He felt that NASCAR's leniency on rough driving opens the door for drivers like Dillon to do whatever it takes to win, regardless of the consequences for other competitors. Joey Logano showed his frustration after the recent race at Richmond. He was involved in the contentious incident where Dillon caused Logano to lose a potential victory. As Logano entered pit road after the race, he expressed his anger by revving his engine and spinning his tires. Elton Sawyer mentioned that NASCAR prefers to avoid making quick decisions about penalties. Instead, the organization reviews all aspects of incidents before determining if any penalties are warranted. Sawyer emphasized the importance of ensuring that any decisions are well considered to avoid unfair consequences. And that's all we have for today's episode. Don't forget to give this video a like and also subscribe to the channel for more such content in the future.